So yes, we are live on YouTube. Our second episode of the Pulse Check. And this time we have Joseph Yip and Martin Irvine joining us so that we can talk a little bit about reel edits, to over or under edit is the kind of topic of what we're going to go through here. Not necessarily saying that one is good and better than the other. We're just going to break it down. We've got Martin and Joseph. You guys have a natural kind of style to how you do things. So we just kind of want to break into that, why you do it, all that kind of stuff. So as a very, very quick intro, Martin, starting with you, could you give a very quick sort of like who you are, what you do, how you do it, that kind of stuff?
My name is Martin Irvine. I am the director of Accelerator Productions. We specialize in creating content for online coaches and people within the fitness space. We offer both video and photography services to them. I have been doing this within the business for probably 10 years now, coming on. So that's basically me, where we are.
Right. My name is Joseph. Yep. Joseph is pretty much the same as Martin. I help online coaches grow their page, grow their personal brand, mostly through Instagram and short form reels. Obviously, TikTok, Facebook works really well on Facebook, believe it or not. Mostly through short form reels. I was an online coach myself for a while. Worked in weddings, videos, photos, everything, and started making content. And people were, oh, your content looks great. Can you give me a hand? And I naturally fell down that path. So I've been doing short form content for the past year now. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Just to kind of before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of stuff, I just want to go for a very quick fire round. And I just want some one word answers from both of you. We'll go Martin, you first, then Joseph, you second. Hopefully that all makes sense to you, but we'll see. So it's either going to be a this or that, or I'm going to say something and give me the first word that comes to your mind. Okay. So Martin, DaVinci or Premiere Pro?
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro as well.
Yes. Pro camera or iPhone, smartphone?
Pro camera.
iPhone, smartphone, yeah, iPhone camera.
This is the reason why we got you two boys on, because I think we're going to.
But I don't know how I should say that. I personally don't do video. I have videographers that do stuff.
The high life.
Love it. First thoughts when I say CapCut.
It's getting better.
Beginner.
Ooh.
Okay. Shotgun or lav mic?
Lav mic.
Lav mic.
First thoughts on stop motion.
What is it?
Long.
I bet. Canon or Sony?
I'm Canon.
Canon as well.
Yeah. Gimbal or handheld?
Handheld.
Handheld as well.
Nice. Photo or video?
I say photo because I'm a photographer.
Video.
Nice. What's better, quality audio or quality video?
Quality audio.
Quality audio.
First thoughts when I say light leaks?
In moderation.
Overused.
Nice. And last one, first thoughts on holding a lav mic as a mic.
Interview.
Annoying.
Thank you. Okay, so don't worry, quick fire over. So just kind of get into the nitty gritty of, like I said, what we want to chat through. So
Can I
I'm going to
just
start with you, Martin.
have a little disclaimer there, Fiona? For anybody that's watching that doesn't have a clue what's just happened, I don't either. So whatever they've just answered with, whatever their opinions are, other than CapCut, it's pretty much the only term I recognised in that. So yeah, if you're lost, me too. Hopefully we'll get to some good stuff.
CapCut is to Premiere Pro what Canva is to Photoshop.
Yeah. See, from a graphics term, so it's I can understand that. I think it probably took me and our team a while to actually come around to using Canva, because it was always the cheating way of doing things. It wasn't the proper way of doing things. So I can see how you can use that and apply it to CapCut.
It's so beginner friendly though. Like the things you could do on CapCut a month into learning it compared to the things you could do on Premiere a month into learning it, it's night and day.
Yeah, it's the same with Canva, isn't it? Because we do a lot of Canva stuff now, because I think the industry, we could probably get into this, I think the fitness industry is so unique in how hands-on the coaches or the business or the consumers are, as in the coaches. So I think giving that ability to be able to be hands-on for the coach is almost, in some cases, more important than the process.
Exactly, yeah.
Almost the question earlier on about phone or camera, I would use my camera for work, but I use my phone when I go out for a walk or lifestyle or just walking about. I will shoot a lot of photography on my phone and edit it on my phone. The only difference is if I think I need a zoom at some point because most optical zooms on phones aren't there. But like in terms of it, I think like a lot of coaches will reach out and ask, what camera should I buy for photos? I say use the one in your pocket. Technically, you already have the one that you need.
Yeah, I said phone. Yeah,
I've actually
go ahead.
When you've been over with us, and is it Lightroom you use on your phone? Because and the pictures, the quality that come out, that just shows how important the edit is as well. Probably afterwards. But what was you going to say then, Joseph? Sorry.
I was gonna say, online coaches, they're not very tech savvy. Majority of them anyway. And obviously, I edit a lot of coaches' footage, short form videos. Use your phone 100%, because a lot of them don't know how to use the camera. It's more hassle. It ends up looking worse than them shooting on the phone. They get a camera and they use the stock lens anyway. They probably have the shutter speed wrong, the aperture wrong, everything's wrong, and it ends up just looking better using their phone, and it's less time consuming as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just by the laugh, mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Fee, let's go.
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, we're going to talk about sort of reel edits, and we're seeing a lot of different bits out there at the minute, from like, really fast-paced cutting edits and that kind of stuff that's like something changing every second, versus the sort of that more natural kind of approach and things like that, which, Martin, I kind of think that when I see your content that you put out, like from yourself and your business, that's the kind of way that I see your style is. It's very sort of storytelling, natural like that. So I just wanted to ask, like, why do you go with that style of edit that's sort of, natural, versus the one that's sort of quite quick and sharp and full of lots of different bits and pieces? Why do you do how you do it?
I would say what we do in the terms of that is, one of our brand mantles is your content's a magnet. What you post, you attract. So the type of content that you put out into the world, is it going to be exactly what you want to attract back in? We also say that we want to put the right coaches with the right clients and the right clients with the right coaches. So a lot of times we like to dig a wee bit deeper into the terms of who people want to work with. We look at people's coaches' business. It's not just about filling up numbers and stuff like that. We want to provide them with clients that they really enjoy working with on a day in, day out, people that they can resonate with, people that they enjoy speaking to, and everything else. It's kind of like, you could have if you had a monetary target of 10 grand a month, do you want to work with 100 clients paying £100 or whatever, or would you rather work with 10 paying you £1,000? And it's the value, those 10 people, that's like, yeah, I love speaking to these people day in, day out. So a lot of the time I describe almost your coaching business like your VIP room, that you be very selective about who you let in. That means then when you get to spend time, and technically you'll probably interact more with your clients than you will with your friends or your loved ones, means then they are of a quality of people that you like. And it's your values, how you speak, what you do with your free time and stuff and everything else like that. So we believe the terms of it, your content is your doorman. He's the guy, he's like the charge of the guest list for your VIP, keeps people out, lets people in. So leaning in that wee bit more on storytelling about who you are and everything else means that you're going to attract people that are more like you and you get to spend time with. We're not against short form, very much so. We've changed up even in the terms of recently, one of our core products is our reel experience. We've gone from like providing 20 reels to providing actually 52. Done it slightly differently because we know consumption in the terms of what people want to do online is short. So using the snippets from that, but almost creating it in long form content to begin with, and then chopping that up and snipping it down to use that as the teaser, i.e., the movie trailer for the 2-hour movie. What gets them in a minute or 30 seconds, gets them hooked, and then gets them want to go over, okay, I want to see the full thing now. So for me, to take it back to the original question, is that why do we lean more on storytelling? Because that is what's going to allow you to attract more of the clients that you want. If it's just superficial, shallow content, you're not necessarily going to get the people that you want or you really are happy with. Or as well as that, if it's people that have just made a decision, a snap decision to work with you, is that their mindset? Are they going to make snap decisions to leave you and jump to another coach and stuff and everything else? Or do you want someone that kind of knows who you are, trusts you and everything else? I mean, sorry to drag out this, but online coaching is about accountability. It's not about training programs. It's not about information or anything else like that. That can be gotten anywhere on social media. What keeps you working with an online coach and what gets you the results you want is working with someone that you don't want to let down, someone you trust and someone you know. And that accountability only comes from someone you know. So we believe by putting more of that storytelling into your content is going to help you either find the coach that you want, or it's going to help the coach find the clients that they want.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Thank you. Yeah, it makes sense. And then, so same kind of question then to you, Joseph, as well, because I noticed that the type of content that you put out is quite polar opposite, but just as successful, and it works for you. So I'm keen to hear your side of it, of why you go down that route of short, sharp, lots of bits going on versus the natural style. Why does one work more for you?
Are you talking in terms of editing style, is it?
Yeah.
Because in terms of editing, I'm going to go a bit off topic here, right? So in terms of editing, I feel like it's not that important, right? I always tell my clients there's 5 things into perfect. Obviously, there's your ideation, your scripting, and then it goes into filming, editing. We've all seen videos that looks like it was shot on a potato go viral. The platform just cares about how long someone stays on it, right? So if you have a great idea, a great script, it will go viral regardless, right? If it's just a great idea and it gets people hooked, right? In terms of editing, right? Honestly, I think there's 2 styles. If you're a coach and you're filming in the gym and you're changing angles constantly, you don't need all the fancy animation popping up on your screen. However, let's say if you're an online coach and you're a mentor, right? You're a coach that coaches coaches, and you're sitting at your table talking to your camera. You probably do need that, because sitting and talking to the camera without anything happening on the screen is really, really boring, right? So you probably need that animation popping up on the screen. And in regards to what Martin said, obviously storytelling, 100%. You need to let people know who you are, right? People buy people nowadays, right? There's so many coaches out there, good and bad, right? Because you can be a terrible coach, but if you're good at marketing, you probably end up pretty well anyway, right? And the good part is also as well, right? There's no topic out there that hasn't been done by a fitness coach, but every single coach delivers it differently. Someone might understand me better than they understand Callum, and they'll go with me, you know? So I'll say, in terms of editing pace, if you're sitting down and talking to the camera and you want all the animations popping up, yes, because you're sitting there and you're doing nothing. But a lot of content creators nowadays know that they have to keep attention and they switch angles constantly. If you're already doing that when you're filming, you probably don't need the fancy editing with all the animations and fast-paced stuff.
I think just to add to that, I think one of the points that's probably going to see as a thread through everyone's opinions on this topic is it's sort of, there's no one size fits all. It's taking a combination of you and your audience and your service and your personality and what edit style and what brand you've got, and sort of mushing all that together and figuring out what works for you. I think what I'd like to get out of this is, because let's be honest, like between Graphic and you guys, we're probably responsible for the majority of the short form content and some of the long form content that you see out there across the industry, like guaranteed. So I think for anyone that's watching or is going to watch this back, if you're unsure on what type of content you should be posting, just know that you're not going to get a complete answer from what we're talking about, but hopefully it will give you the steps to figure out what kind of content you want to post, who you're posting it for, what style lends itself to you, and then run with that. And then there's still a lot of trial and error along the way, but I think that's kind of what I want to get out of this.
I mean, one thing, I mean, I totally agree with Joseph in the terms of the boring thing, that we're like, if we're out actually filming for people, we will try and capture as much B-roll as possible. So it's not like, for example, a client testimonial where you're just sitting there looking at the same person saying the same thing. At least then, particularly then, if you can showcase off the service and what it looks like from a viewer's point of view, is very, very important. And exactly as he said, it keeps the viewer's attention. But for me as well, then, it's where a big thing is where the content is consumed. You know, if you're talking about LinkedIn or YouTube, someone puts YouTube on to sit down for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. They kind of know that they're making that commitment. Whereas if someone's on TikTok or Instagram, or even within Instagram, you've got Reels or you've got the feed, which is longer form. It could be someone standing in a queue at a supermarket and they've literally got 30 seconds. So it's almost when they go on to a certain particular type of platform, their consumption or how much they're willing to consume at any one particular time is different. So again, it comes down to that idea of if you're recording long form for the likes of YouTube, you drip feed it out onto the other ones, which get people attention and brings them back over. But again, when the terms of attracting your client, the type of client you want to work with, where are they going to be? So say you want to work with a high performing corporate professional, how often are they going to be on TikTok, or are they even going to be on TikTok at all? Or are they going to be spent most of their time on LinkedIn? So again, in the terms of the type of content you're putting out, it has to be sort of delivered in a way to suit the platform, but also suit the person and where they're consuming their content and which platform you're probably going to get to go on. But also then what state they're currently in when they're on that platform. You know, are they sitting down to consume longer form on YouTube, or are they just standing in a busy queue looking to kill 30 seconds?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that as well. And in terms of editing, right, I always say to people, right, the more you do when you're filming, the less you have to work in the editing room. The less you do when you're filming, the more you have to probably do a bunch of edits on that video. But in terms of what type of content you should post, right, nowadays, I strongly push like a half and half. So maybe half of your posts are you trying to go viral and get reach, and the rest is just you. You don't care about the views. You just want to talk to ideal clients and try and talk to the clients that you actually want in your door. Yeah.
So kind of like elaborating then on what you said about, keeping retention. And obviously it depends, as you said, who you're going for, what platform they're on, what state of mind they're in at that time. What do you do in terms of deploying certain strategies around hooks? Because I appreciate they'll be wildly different depending on platform, time of day, person you're going for, that kind of stuff. Do you kind of have like a set system that you'll do if you're editing for something or shooting and editing for YouTube versus Reels, or is it a trial and error, or how do you go about planning that for your clients?
Me or Joseph?
Do you want to go first? Yeah, you go ahead.
Again, I'm all for a hook. Technically Reels or even TikToks or anything else, you average 6 to 7 seconds to get someone's attention before they'll skip on the next one. Even with that, in the terms of YouTube, I know that the likes of Stephen Bartlett actually runs Facebook ads trialing what he does for his thumbnails. So he'll actually use different quotes or different thumbnails and then put them out through Facebook ads. Whatever gets the most interaction over a 48 hours is the one then he uses when he actually goes to YouTube. So even in the terms of that, if you think it's that 1 millisecond that someone will decide on what a cover or a thumbnail looks like, get over it. But I love the idea of the A/B testing at the minute. There was talk of them bringing it out to Instagram as well. The thumbnails or whatever would be, you'd have 2 options. That the most performing one within the first period of time will then be actually taking over the other one, which I think is fantastic. So for me, and as well as that, even before video has become so prominent, that first line below an Instagram post is what's going to get someone's attention. So in the terms of hooks, yeah, I'm a big fan of getting someone's attention as quickly as possible, even if it's something a little funny to drag them in. I would even do it within photography as well in the terms of the imagery. Like one I've done with a lot of coaches is even just 2 fingers up like that. That instantly grabs someone's attention. They're like, what's this going to be about? So even integrating things like that or visual call to actions in imagery and stuff and everything else is very, very powerful. You have to get someone's attention before you can even keep it. So that's probably important from my aspect.
Just to dig into that a little bit, Martin, because I think from our perspective, when we're editing short form content for a lot of coaches, there's obviously coaches are aware of hooks and all these things, the elements that a short form content should have. But one of the biggest hurdles we have is when an edit doesn't necessarily have a hook and the coach wants a hook, but there is no hook in the content. Like that, you can't just make one, unless you're going to re-record something or whatever. So if coaches are struggling with being able to pull that hook out of content or struggling at how to work something like that in, what would be your advice? Would it be a case of focusing on the actual script of the video and going, okay, what is going to be my hook? Or is it a case of the video content just being good enough to where you've always got a hook to pull out of?
Am I going?
Yeah, anyone?
Yeah, sorry.
Right, I'll go for it. I'll say, right, obviously outside of ideation, when it comes to scripting, right, your hook is 100% the most important thing. When it comes to short form content anyway, long form content, right, when people press into it, like Martin said, right, people expect it to be long, so they'll stay that bit longer. But short form content, your body is not as important as your hook. Your hook is the most important thing ever in short form content. I'm the youngest one here, so my attention span is so bad. They said goldfish. I'm worse than a goldfish. I swipe so fast, right? So ideation after that, hooks your most important thing. I tell people, if you want to script things and you're lazy, do the hook anyway, and then you can bullet point the rest.
So if they're struggling to, they've done a bit of short form content and they realise that there is no hook and they're struggling to have that hook in the start of the video, would you suggest specifically recording or deciding what that hook's going to be rather than pulling it out of the natural piece of content?
Yes, 100%. Like Martin said, you have to get attention first to hold it, right? Like if you don't have a hook, right, it's pretty hard for people to stay on short form content anyway, right? And in terms of editing, right, there are a few things that I always do. Obviously, once the coach, usually they have a hook. There's two things you can do, right? There's a visual hook as well, where obviously if we're doing fancy animation edits and someone's talking about losing weight, you can pull up an animation of losing weight and so on at the start, going along with their hook. And then there's also audio as well. There's rises into a drop into the main body that will keep someone's attention. So visual and sound. But 100% you need a spoken hook by the person who's filming the video in the first place.
I think there should always be a hook. If you're recording content and you know what you're talking about and you know who you're talking to, you should be able to come up with something. Even if it's something as simple as like bigger biceps. That's it. That's all technically it needs. In the terms the long form content, I still think there's a hook there. So if you look at the likes of Stephen Bartlett, even the Diary of the CEO, he does a summary of the full podcast to get people hooked in. The first 15, 20 seconds is just boom, 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 boom of the real catchment points. So it's there. But one big thing for me is first impressions last. People, if for example, the terms of your hook, if that's going to if it's the first time someone sees you or your content, they're going to judge you on that. So, and I'm not necessarily trying to sort of single out any sort of groups or anything else like this, but like that period of time there was so many female coaches using them pulling their leggings on as a hook to get people to watch their content was just like, nah. And it's like, then you go in and you have a look at it. And it's like, I want to empower females. And it's like, you really think females who look at empowerment are going to get drawn in by you pulling a pair of leggings on? You know,
it's like, I think there's something to be said there, Martin, on that trust, isn't there, with the audience? I think we've seen it with clickbait, didn't we? Like back in the day, obviously there's still elements of clickbait around now. Like you talk about thumbnails and stuff. It used to just be clickbait on, well, a lot of titles and things. People now are either for it or against it. But I think one thing to bear in mind with hooks, from in my opinion anyway, is you do have to pull them in, and sometimes you might almost have to say something, against the grain to hook someone in if that's what you need to do, if that's your style. But at the end of the day, if you hook someone in and you get them and they're on the line and then you don't follow through with whatever commitment you promised in that hook, then there's an element of trust there that is no longer there, or was being built and is no longer there. So it's okay for maybe like viral videos. I think being more against the grain to hook people in works better because you sort of go in for that one hit wonder almost. Obviously, you're going to try and repeat it afterwards, but the trust isn't as important, in my opinion. whether that's the right thing or wrong to do, that's sort of a different conversation. But I think you've got to, if you're going to hook someone in and almost promise something at the start of a piece of content, you almost really need to deliver it as well, because the chance of them repeating and actually consuming content after that is quite slim.
Well, I mean, if we even look at the concept of a hook or clickbait, if you're going fishing, you use a particular type of bait to catch a particular type of fish. And that's where the whole concept or analogy comes from. So a lot of the time people are using clickbait or whatever it is they think to chase numbers or views of something, but that's not necessarily the client they're looking for. You know, so at the end of the day, if you're going out to fish for a particular type of fish or for example, a particular type of client, you got to use the right bait that's going to allow you to get that. And again, it comes down to what's your overall goal. Is it just a vanity metric of trying to get as many views as possible? Or is it really going to be down to actually putting clients in your inbox who are going to want to work with you, are going to want to pay what your current premium is, and are going to want to work with you over a longer term rather than just 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 2 or 3 months or things like that? So again, you got to be able to, if you're going to bait someone, bait them with the right type of bait to get the right type of client.
Yeah, 100%. Two things here, right? Number one is short form content, especially, is getting so competitive now. It's getting harder and harder. Back in 2020, right, you can use the easiest hook. Here's 3 things people will stay and watch. Right now, here's 2 tips for everyone who's watching this and wants to come up with a better hook. All right, 2 things you want to do. Number one, you want to build authority in that hook, right? Because unless you have a huge following, why would they listen to you? All right, you want to pique someone's interest and build authority at the same time. Right, let's say my hook is how to get a 6-pack, right? I have a picture of me with a 6-pack. Oh, that's building authority, and that's the hook. So put 2 and 2 together. And back to what Martin said there, right? Your hook is very important in terms of speaking to your ideal clients. Nowadays, a lot of coaches do boost posts, right? A lot of them run ads. Those videos especially need a hook, right? Because if you're just talking about here's how you build muscle, you get 14-year-olds following you and texting you for advice, right? But if you start your video with a hook, let's say hooking your ideal clients, if you're working 9 to 5 and want to build some muscle, you actually get qualifying clients, qualifying leads coming in.
On an extension of that, I look at social media from sometimes a skeptical side that there's a lot of online coaches out there technically aren't running an online coaching business through their content. They're running a self-administered fan page. Here's me with my top off again. Now, if you imagine that you have a restaurant that's just opened up down the road from you, and you walk past that restaurant every single night, and all you see, the only people in that restaurant is the staff, you're never going to be compelled to go in. Now, if you walk down past the restaurant and there is a ton of people queuing outside that, different people every single night, you're going to think there's something special about their going. Now, just because a coach can get up first thing in the morning, do the do's, stick to the diet, motivate themselves and everything else, there's absolutely no guarantee or proof that they can do that for anyone else. So when I look at an online coach that says I've helped thousands of men get in shape, and I scroll down and I cannot see one of those men anywhere in their feed, I'm thinking, I've just stopped believing you. Where is it? Because all I see is you. And if it's you, there's a lot of things that can play into the factor in the terms of you getting those results. You work in a gym, you have all day to train in a gym, you don't have another job, you possibly don't have a family, you possibly have the genetics of everything else and all that. So where is the proof? So again, as we said, our content's a magnet. When you have a clear picture of all the clients, the type of client you work with, the type of results that you get, bang there in your social media, that is what's going to work for you. And one thing I do in the terms of when I'm sort of dealing with clients in the terms of us, it's very simple for me to turn around and say, don't take my word for it. Go onto my feed and ask my clients, because my clients are all over my feed and their tags are there. You can click on any of them and go and ask their opinion of what they think of me or our team and the service we deliver. Go ahead. I encourage you to do so, because if we look at Google reviews, Facebook reviews, everything else that's there, there's mine, bang, and my social media. But when your social media is just you are completely eliminating the fact that you demonstrate who you work with, the results you can get for them, and given the opportunity to generate real, honest reviews from that. Because everything that we post about ourselves will always come with a sense of bias. But what other people say about us will come with more trust.
Do you think, Martin, that links us back to the original topic of short form content in particular and editing and things like that. Do you think the new wave of trying to go viral and trying to keep people's attention span for a short period of time rather than a longer period of time, do you think that's indirectly pushing people to show more of themselves and less of the clients because they're trying to go viral?
Yeah, not necessarily trying to go viral, but it's probably because what they have access to. I can film myself or photograph myself on a day-to-day basis. That's probably what the coaches look at. And they think it's harder for them to actually create content or capture content of their clients. But again, there's ways and means of out there of doing it. And I love the principle, and it was a boxing coach explained to me once. It's like your job is your key to the door. That's how you control a fighter. That's how you move or dictate the pace of a fight. You move the fighter around or anywhere else. And then your haymaker, boom, that's the knockout punch. So a lot of the times when you're posting regular content, it's just your job. You're building up the awareness. You're touching base. You're building that trust over and over and over again. And then when you can drop something like a good client testimonial, whether it's been filmed yourself, you've had someone else come in, but that real sort of strong hitting story, boom, that gets someone over the line. So I'm not about making content of yourself. I am all for that. But in terms of if that's the only content you're putting out, I imagine it should be like a 50-50 split, if anything, in the terms of it. So for me, it's like when it's only you and your content and people are thinking, well, where the hell's your clients? Who have you worked with? You know, or if there's a good split of both, then I think that's just going to work so much better for you in the terms of conversion.
Agreed. Well, on that note, we are hitting that half an hour mark, and we did say it was going to be a nice, short, sharp pulse check. So, yeah, thank you both for your opinions and thoughts on everything there. I think there's hopefully some really useful bits that coaches can kind of take away from this in terms of strategies moving forward and how to potentially change what they're doing for better. So, thank you very much. Anything else from anyone?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Oh, all good.
I think I'll just say I think we need an episode 2 because I reckon we've done 32 minutes and I reckon we could probably do 3 hours talking about all these different topics and stuff. So we'll definitely have to get an episode 2 on. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, just for me, like I said before, between everybody on this stream, we're responsible, whether it's us or our teams, for the majority of the short and long form and the photography in particular for Martin, responsible for all of what you're seeing in the industry. And that's not me being big-headed, they're the facts. If you're seeing short form editing, no matter what the style is, it's probably coming from one of our camps at some point. So if you do have any questions, you're not too sure where you're at your video journey, you know, certain things that you're struggling with, maybe whether it is hooks, whether it is captions, you know, whether it should be long form or short form, whatever it is, then please reach out to either of these guys because they'll always be willing to help and they're the best in the game. So I appreciate you giving us probably an hour of your time actually by the time we prepped and got all the audio set up. But yeah, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.